When you go through a change of state of consciousness, state of awareness, state of perception, then many people go out of your life that were in before and other people come in. Changes happen in your life. Some of them you don't like, but what it is, it's just the old life created by the old energy field, created from the old perception, breaking down so another one can come in. And it happens because when we change, our energy changes, and therefore what it attracts changes because we are in control, if only we realize that and take it back. And it's interesting, you know, when you start to change your perception and you want to be spiritual, as they say, what kind of goes on in your mind is, now I want to be spiritual, everything's going to change, and I'm going to go down leafy lanes with little nymphs and butterflies are going to drop on my arm, and it's going to be lovely because I'm spiritual now. And what happens? All hell often breaks loose in your life. It bloody well did in mine. And what happens then is we think, if this is spirituality, 2 years into this journey of mine, conscious journey, I thought, if this is spirituality, you can stick it, this is no fun. Because everything in my life broke down. But if we understand what's happening, then the pain of that breakdown can be very, very much diminished. Because what we're putting out before the change are vibrational fields that attract certain vibrational fields back, which we call a life, people, places, ways of life, experiences. When we change and shift our consciousness, there is that transitional point where the old construct, vibrational construct, starts to break down so the new one can come in. And if the old one doesn't break down, the new one can't come in. And at that time, we experience it as all hell's breaking loose in our lives. But what's actually happening is the old is crumbling so the new can be. And on a collective level, that is what we're experiencing now. We're experiencing the breakdown of the old collective order as this vibrational change moves on, and it seems as if the world's falling apart. What it gives us the opportunity to do is to break out of the enslavement of the old structure, the old system, and build another one, put another one in its place.
This is strange how an identity evaporates that seemed so solid and real. And so form, we're talking about form identity. That is when you're asked, who are you? Or you ask yourself, who am I? Okay, now is that all there is to who you are? Is that what can be defined through form, what can be that which is form, thought forms, emotional forms, physical forms, a conglomeration of that put together for a while becomes what you think is I. Is that really your I, your identity? Or is there something else? Well, perhaps we can just, at this moment, see, as you sit here, right at this moment, you don't remember your past. You don't have to. Let's pretend you don't have one. You have no past. There is no past. Let's say there is no past. Which, by the way, is the truth. Ultimately, there is no past. There's only the now. So, okay. And no future. Let's pretend there is no future. Well, there is no future anyway, but there's only this. So you can't remind yourself, you don't even, unless there's a thought in your head that says, I am such and such, even that you don't know right now. Let's say you don't know anything about who you are. Nothing that you can formulate, conceptualize, call something. You don't. What is left? Is there, what is lost? Nothing is lost. In fact, when you encounter this which cannot be named, which is a formless presence, aliveness, that's you've touched that which is beyond form, consciousness itself. And that is identity. That is where your sense of I comes from. And so you are more truly yourself when you don't remember your past than when you do remember your past. And you are more truly yourself when there's not a single thought in your head than when you are full of thinking about me and my problems. And whenever you feel this sense of I, the light of consciousness, which you can know directly in the stillness that is always there, available to you as the essence, your essence identity, timeless, that's always there, and that is one with universal consciousness. It's just coming through this form.
Straightforward. If you're obsessed by memories of the past, more than 18 months old, and most of those are negative, so anxiety-provoking most often, then there's a lot of you that's stuck in the past. And what that means is you didn't map the territory well enough. Parts of your brain that are alarm systems, anxiety systems, are saying, no, there's holes in the way you're looking at the world. There's holes in the way that you're looking in the world. And you fell in them once, and you don't know where they are, and you don't know how to fill them, and you don't know how to walk around them, and so you can't forget them, and you can't forget them, you can't forget them, you can't forget them. So you have recurring nightmares, for example, or a good example of that sort of thing happen. But in any case, if you have memories like that, you remember them, they make you feel anxious and negative, you're stuck back there. Your body is still reacting as if there's an emergency that could happen again that you haven't fixed. And it doesn't matter if it was your fault. That's irrelevant because the alarm system doesn't care. Like when your smoke detector goes off, it isn't relevant whether it was your fault. The smoke detector just says house is on fire, and that's a bad thing. And your anxiety systems are like that. If they're tagging old memories with anxiety, then you have to do something about it, or you will be tortured by those memories forever, because that's how the alarm system works. And so maybe you need to go back there and clean things up. You got to figure out, okay, well, how did this happen? What sort of role did I play? Even if it's a minor role, that doesn't matter, because the point is that you don't want to be put in the same vulnerable position again. So anything you can do to strengthen yourself is good. You know, and often if it's a really old memory, like maybe you were a child, you're not a child now. So you probably have a variety of techniques at hand that you could use to deal with a situation like that if it came up now. And so you have to update that part of your brain that still thinks you're 4. And lots of people have parts of them that are still stuck in some traumatic childhood experience. And they don't. I had a friend like that who had a terrible childhood, and I mean really, I've had clients with terrible childhoods, and his was like top of the lobster hierarchy in terms of terrible childhoods. And whenever he had a dream about it, which was very often, he was 5 in his dream. He's 58. You know, he's not 5, but hadn't been updated, so he was still 5 in his dreams. It was a complete bloody nightmares for him. Complete with all sorts of terrible physiological symptoms, really hurting his life. He couldn't get himself updated. And he's much older in his dreams now, by the way. He's up to about 45, so which is way better than 5, you know, because you can't fight back when you're 5, but you can fight back when you're 45, especially if you have some experience at your disposal.